The Porsche 718 is dead. Long live the SUV. That is what Porsche wants you to celebrate. They fumbled $1 billion on the electric 718, killed the gas version on purpose, and their answer is selling crossovers to people who will never touch a track. The 718 and the 911 combined made up 26.2% of that record total. You know what made up 62.2%? The Macan and Cayenne. Together, they accounted for 47,453 units. The SUVs are the engine that keeps the entire Porsche machine running in America. Full stop. The company is bleeding money on the electric 718 program, cutting 1,900 permanent jobs by 2029, already eliminated 2,000 temporary positions in 2024, the operating margin dropped to 0.2%. The stock has crashed by more than half since the IPO. All of that is real, and all of that is scary. The reason Porsche is still standing, the reason they can afford to figure things out instead of folding, is because those two SUVs print money every single month. So, while everyone is focused on the crisis, we need to talk about the two cars keeping this brand alive and why the 718 we lost mattered so much. The final 2025 Porsche 718 Boxster and Cayman models rolled off the production line in October 2025. Porsche stopped production on purpose to make room for an electric replacement that keeps getting delayed and might get cancelled entirely. The battery supplier, a Swedish company called Northvolt, went bankrupt with $30 million in cash and nearly $6 billion in debt. The budget blew up by an estimated 20 to 30%, pushing real spending somewhere between 2.4 and 2.6 billion euros. New CEO Michael Leaders walked in on January 1st, 2026, and started questioning the entire program. There is currently no Boxster and no Cayman for sale at any Porsche dealer in the country. If you have never driven a 718, it is hard to explain why that matters so much. The car had near perfect 50-50 weight distribution, a low center of gravity, and steering that actually talked to your hands. You felt the road surface change under your tires. You felt the suspension load up mid-corner. You could take one from Big Sur all the way down to the Blue Ridge Parkway, and every single mile would remind you why you bought a Porsche in the first place. These were the cars you could daily drive in bumper-to-bumper traffic on the 405 and then absolutely send through the canyons on Saturday morning. Porsche clubs across the country ran countless track days where 718 owners showed up at Laguna Seca or VIR and realized just how much car they were sitting in. For a lot of us, the 718 was the first Porsche we ever drove, the first one that made us get it, the first one where you turned the key, pulled out of the dealership, and understood in about 30 seconds why people dedicate their whole personality to this brand. The 718 name goes way deeper than most people know. Back in the late 1950s, Porsche built the original 718 RSK and RS60 race cars. Small, light, mid-engine machines that won class victories at the Targa Florio and Le Mans against much bigger competitors. When Porsche put the 718 badge on the Boxster and Cayman for the 2017 model year on the 982 platform, they were honoring real racing history. The 982 generation switched base models to turbocharged flat-4 engines, a 2.0-liter making 300 horsepower and a 2.5-liter making 350 in the S. Enthusiasts were upset about the sound. Porsche answered with the 2020 GTS 4.0, a naturally aspirated 4.0-liter flat-6 making 394 horsepower that revved like it wanted to rip itself apart. Then came the GT4 RS with 493 horsepower revving to 9,000 RPM, hitting 60 in about 3.2 seconds with PDK. Car and Driver tested the manual GTS 4.0 at 3.8 seconds to 60 with 1.04 G on the skid pad. Those numbers rival cars costing twice as much. Final 2025 pricing started around $72,800 for the base Cayman and climbed past $160,000 for a loaded GT4 RS. You could still get a manual transmission, which in 2025 felt like finding buried treasure. In the US, the 718 still moved 6,399 units in its final year, up 12.3% from 2024 as buyers rushed in for the last chance to own one. If you grabbed a manual GT4, those values are already climbing fast. Every one of those cars is going to be a collector piece. Now, the SUV story starts in 2003 with one of the biggest gambles in automotive history. Porsche revealed the first-generation Cayenne, and the car community lost its mind. Forums were on fire. People called it a betrayal. The idea of Porsche making an SUV felt like watching your favorite band sell out and do car commercials. The company was in financial trouble after the dot-com bust slowed sports car sales, and development chief Wendelin Wiedeking bet everything on a luxury performance SUV built on a platform shared with the Volkswagen Touareg and Audi Q7, but engineered to Porsche standards. The first Cayenne had a 4.5-liter V8 making 340 horsepower in the base and 450 in the turbo. Along with air suspension, advanced all-wheel drive with a low-range gearing, and chassis dynamics that straight up made every other SUV feel like pudding, it could tow 7,700 pounds, handle actual trails, and still lap the Nürburgring faster than a lot of sports cars. The first generation produced 276,652 units through 2010. The second generation introduced Porsche's first hybrid SUV in 2010, and a plug-in e-hybrid in 2014. Before that was trendy. Now, on the third generation with its 2024 facelift, the lineup is the deepest it has ever been. The base starts at $89,900 with a 3.0-liter turbo V6, making 348 horsepower. E-hybrid variants start around $103,100 and combine the V6 or V8 with electric motors for anywhere from 463 to 729 combined horsepower, with meaningful electric-only range for your daily commute. The S and GTS pack twin-turbo V8s, making 468 to 493 horsepower with 0 to 60 in the low 4-second range and top speeds over 170 miles per hour. The Turbo GT sits at $214,800 with 650 horsepower and a 0 to 60 time of 3.1 seconds. The brand new Cayenne Electric is arriving for 2026, starting at $109,000. The Turbo Electric makes up to 1,139 horsepower on overboost with launch control and hits 60 in 2.4 seconds. That is faster than a 918 Spider to 60 in a family SUV that can carry groceries and car seats. It rides on an approximately 113 kilowatt-hour battery with ultra-fast charging and even wireless inductive charging options. Production started in February 2026 in Bratislava, and US deliveries are expected late summer 2026. Over 200,000 people have already built one on the configurator. The configurator has basically become a hobby for Porsche fans, picking colors and wheels they know they cannot afford yet. If you've spent 2 hours building a Cayenne Turbo Electric in chalk, and then switching to Arctic Gray, and then back to chalk, you are not alone. US Cayenne deliveries hit 20,314 units in 2025. Globally, the model has blown past 1 million units produced. Every single sale funded the R&D that kept the 718 and 911 sharp. The Cayenne is the reason Porsche can survive the financial crisis they are dealing with right now. Without this single car, the whole company looks completely different. Then you have the Macan. If the Cayenne kicked down the door, the Macan walked in and made itself at home. Launched in 2014 as a 2015 model, named after the Indonesian word for tiger, smaller and lighter than the Cayenne, easier to park in cities like Manhattan or Miami, quicker to change direction on back roads, it became Porsche's global bestseller fast. moving over 80,000 units per year worldwide. The first-generation ICE lineup ran from a 2.0-liter turbo 4 up to the GTS with a 2.9 twin-turbo V6, making 434 horsepower. In 2024, the second-generation Macan Electric arrived on the PPE platform, and now ICE and electric run side by side. The ICE range starts at $65,400 and goes to the GTS at $94,200 with 434 horsepower and a 4.3-second 0-60. The electric side starts with the rear-wheel drive model at $80,300, making 355 horsepower, and tops out with the turbo electric at $112,700, 630 horsepower, 3.1 seconds to 60. Electric models offer over 300 miles of estimated range on WLTP, 800-volt architecture for rapid DC charging up to 270 kilowatts, and the same Porsche active ride suspension that makes them corner like a vehicle half their size. US Macan sales in 2025 hit a record 27,139 units. The Macan is the car for young professionals in Austin, Seattle, Denver, for families who want something nimble with real Porsche credentials, but can still handle a Costco run on Sunday. For PCA members, the Macan and Cayenne have become gateway cars. A lot of people start with a Macan lease, fall in love with how it drives, and suddenly a 911 or used 718 joins the garage. With the 718 gone from the showrooms, the Macan fills part of that entry-level gap. It gets people into the Porsche ecosystem, and it keeps them there. Track events now regularly have Macan and Cayenne run groups because these SUVs are genuinely capable on circuit. Watch a Macan GTS chase down sports sedans at a local track day. It is humbling. A Cayenne Turbo e-hybrid or the new electric still shrinks around you on a winding road. Rear axle steering, active dampers, torque vectoring, it rotates the chassis in a way that makes you forget you're carrying 5 people and a dog to the lake house. The Macan in GTS form feels even more playful, closer to what the 718 used to give you in a taller package. US testers consistently call out how these SUVs hold composure under hard cornering where competitors fall apart and push wide. The electric powertrains add instant torque, silent interstate cruising from Boston down to Miami, and regenerative braking that feels natural under your foot. Porsche added a synthetic sound profile you can toggle, and while purists argue about it, the reality is it works. You still feel connected to the car. You still feel like you're driving a Porsche. Porsche confirmed in September 2025 that combustion and hybrid models will stick around longer than originally planned, with new generations added to the product cycle. The pure EV sports car platform for a 718 successor is being evaluated under new CEO leaders with cost and demand considerations in play. A version of that platform shared with Audi's confirmed TT successor will likely appear in some form, maybe with hybrid options or adjusted timing. Porsche is even trying to reverse engineer the electric-only platform to fit a combustion engine back into it, which tells you everything about how sideways the original plan went. Meanwhile, the SUV lineup keeps expanding, and plug-in hybrids bridge the gap for Americans who want range flexibility on road trips where charging infrastructure varies. If you're driving from LA to Vegas on a Friday afternoon, you want to know your car gets you there without stress. Porsche gets that about our market better than most European brands.